Hi guys, this is Carrie. Welcome to A Crone's Life. Let me just move this stuff out of the way, and I wanted to talk to you about my practice and how I've enjoyed the last journal that I built and what changes I will be making with the new journal that I'm starting. When I first started using tarot for journaling, I really just did what everybody tells you to do, and that is pull a card a day to learn the personalities of your decks and to just enjoy spending time deep diving into each card. And that was great because I could scratch the heck out of this table. I could kind of expand on each card and think about it in the ways that it meant something to me. So each card was studied that way, and as time went on I realized that if I just do one deck 78 days in a row, it'll take me forever to get through all my decks. I started expanding. So let's just look at my last journal. I use 4 decks. I've been using 4 decks every week for the last year. I want to say a year and a half or a year. So this is my journal from June 2025 to July 19th. So it's really, just over a month and a half really is what this journal was. So to keep everything kind of private, I put pockets on each page, and I drew and painted the imagery on the cards. Just tried to put things together in a way that it meant something to me. Not to go too far back into history of what I was doing with my spread per day, but there was a time when I would do the same spread every single day with a little change up of 3 cards at the bottom of this spread, and it was a 6-card spread. 3 of the cards up top were 3 different decks, and then the 3-card spread was a single deck at the bottom, and that was exciting, but I had really no way. It would be so much work to track what cards I pulled, and it was more of a whimsical kind of card pull, and I wanted something a little bit more, regimented. So I went to Pinterest and I found 6-card spreads, and I could take a different spread every single day, but I could have that spread documented in my journal so that it was easier to, here's my little pocket, easier to follow, easier to track what cards I pulled and what meaning they had for me at that time, and how different decks kind of spoke differently with the same card, and that was really enjoyable. And then I moved to, because I wanted a little bit of consistency, I moved to every Sunday I had the same spread, every Monday the same spread, every Tuesday the same spread. So it was 7 different spreads, and that's this right here. So 4 decks per week, 7 different spreads, but they're the same through each week. And on each page I would put my mantra that I would sing in the morning. And they don't, I hate this page. I did such a terrible job. I switched pens, and that one just bleh, bleh. That's all I have to say. But my mantras, this isn't necessarily the mantra that I sang during the day, but to look back on it and to remember that that was one that I enjoyed at the time. That was nice. So this is my journal, and this is the like I said, this is the same spread on, I don't even know how to word it. Monday, Tuesday, yeah, Monday spread, Tuesday spread, Wednesday spread, and that was enjoyable. I think I may have gotten a little bit bored. I'm gonna say that because I didn't feel like this was enough paper to really do a lot of writing. I was really just putting down phrases instead of elaborating on the thoughts that I had about the cards, and I spent more time painting and drawing, which I'm not angry about that at all. That's really what I wanted to do, was spend time painting and drawing. But I think there's a balance, and and Elena painted this page for me, so I just drew over it. But there's a balance, and I feel like I should really, you know, try to do just as much, and I hate this one too, just as much drawing, just as much writing as I do each time. And to me, that would be a perfect layout, a perfect journal, is to be able to have lots of writing and lots of drawing. So this is a close to this journal. I have not finished painting. These got really minimal. I don't really know why, but I was feeling like it should look more like the cards instead of like my paintings. So Future Ancestors, that's kind of the color scheme she has. And then yeah, so I just kind of went minimal for a minute or two on the colors, the watercolor wash look, and so on. But then coming back, so this is where I need to start painting again, and I have several days where I did not photograph my my spread, so I have no I don't have a picture to draw from, so I'm just going to make things up on some pages. But this will be done by, gosh, I don't know, I was hoping by the end of this week, but we'll see. We'll see how ambitious I am, and you know how much energy I can put into this. So that journal has ended. Goodbye, June, July. My new journal. I bumped you so hard. My new journal is bigger. For one thing, I like this size. I'm not sure how it's going to work out with my sketches because I have not sketched in it yet. But what I have done is I have pasted these pages where I can write as much as I want to. And this might this is today, so I've got to, I still have to write. But I can write as much as I want to, and then I've still got these two big pages for drawing. I think that this is much closer to the balance that I was looking for in my journaling and learning tarot, and just moving along in that direction. Also, I'm always working on getting my spreads just right, because I want to ask the questions that really mean something to me, and that I can talk about, that I can, you know, put some thought into and work with. So I spent some time this last week on YouTube watching all of you guys, all of my Tarot Tube friends, and I just have to say, you are all so creative. It blows my mind. And I ended up going back to Candy's channel because I always do. I just feel like she's a sister of mine. She's just so close to the way she practices, the way I would. She draws, she paints, she does the things that I do. I just feel a connection to Candy. So when she had this video the other day, Scarily Accurate Tarot Spread, and I will link it below, she showed how you pull an oracle card to center your reading, and then you do 3 cards on either side that expand on the oracle card. I thought, well, this is perfect. This is perfect because, number one, I want to get better at the Celtic Cross, and really that cross in the center of the Celtic Cross is what she's talking about, with the situation is the center, and then you've got the past, the future, the conscious, and the subconscious. And so I'm working on that thought, but now I'm using the Spread Crafters Oracle. So I have this one. What is this one? This one is Change, I think. I think this is Change. And I draw a card every day. This is my card for the day. So Reform. And it's a call to action. Basically, my past self, what did I think about? How did I feel about reform? How did I reform things in the past? And any plans for the future on how to reform? What I can do to make change in kind of a reformation way? What I think about consciously of reform, and it says to make changes, to improve, to create something better, to update and reorganize. So I'm going to throw a little bit of the update and reorganize stuff because I am in a constant state of decluttering. So reform can go into a lot of different areas of my life. And then subconscious, my cards should tell me what is hidden underneath all those layers of conscious. Like, what am I not telling myself? What am I not talking about in this subject in myself? So I have a teeny tiny table that I do my spreads on. This is going to change, but it's going to be a while. So instead of doing like above and below and side to side, I have to kind of just do them like an arch. So I do past, conscious, future, and subconscious. And I have to admit, I'm loving it, but I always do love change. I always love the I don't know, it's the energy of something new. And so this is really where I am. I'm in the energy of something new. So I also wanted to spend a little time talking about the last week of my old journal and the decks that I used to finish up that journal. And but I do have some photographs. I should be able to put some up here while I talk about it. So I worked with the Hush Tarot, the Holler Moon Mountain Oracle, the True North Tarot, and the Angel Botanical Angel. I'm never sure about the name of this oracle deck, but it's all flowers and botanicals. And that actually was a really good deck. I enjoyed my True North, because I always do, and I really enjoyed the flowers decks. Those were two that I could have spent more time working with. If for those of you who don't know, the True North is photography. They took either stock photos and manipulated them with filters, or they took their own photographs. I'm not sure, but there are different places in the world, and so I would get Singapore and I would get Australia, and some of the places in the deck, like Queenstown, New Zealand. That was a card I got one day. I've been there, and so it really feels like it's my travel buddy. We talk about traveling. We talk about what that particular card means to the area that you're in the photograph. Hopefully, I'm talking to you, and there's another video going where I'm showing you what I do for my last journal. But just in case you can see anything on this side, I will use my cards as well. So when you go on Pinterest and you look up tarot spreads, there are a bazillion, and that is really good and really bad for me. I suffer from decision paralysis sometimes, so having too many options is a bad thing, but it's really hard to see. I'll just use these for now. I would use I'll just use a part of the pile because this is an unruly deck. So on Monday, it's always the same questions. What's to be cared for? And I would shuffle and I would get an answer like the Magician. So the way that I would read that for myself would be, I need to take care of my skills, my talents, my the gifts that I have been given to, and then that decision has to be made, which ones. Nurturing has always been a skill that I felt like I had, and painting and drawing, and then, you know, just creating things, making things. So this would be a reminder on Monday, maybe I should spend some time making things. Maybe I should cultivate one of those skills or dive deep into one of my skills that I have not necessarily paid attention to lately. Good gracious. The second question would be, what needs a little cleansing? So I would get a card, and this one says, to the stars. So immediately in my head, this meant my dreams. So to the stars, maybe I am taking things to bed with me that through the day have not been healthy, and I need to clear my mind before I dream. And that's just how I would take that one. So you can kind of see how this makes a very short answer and that I did very little writing based on this. The third question would be, where could you look for inspiration? This deck is so easy to shuffle that I don't have any flying out cards. I don't easily have flying out cards. So I'll probably just pick one. Let's just turn this one over. So where can I look for inspiration? Where could you look for inspiration? Yeah. Then I get the Nine of Pentacles. So the beauty around me, the luxurious world that I live in, paying attention to any beautiful thing can be a source of inspiration. And then the last question is advice from the moon's phase. It's Monday, so it's Moon Day. And advice from the moon's phase. In my journal, I would always write what moon phase we are in and what percentage of moon, what day the moon is on. Just anything that gives me an insight to the advice that it's giving me. So I would get something like Tourette, and I would look her up because I'm not familiar. I know she's Egyptian. She's a hippo. Let me see if I can find my book. She's a 10. So okay, so she's the 10 of Pentacles, and keywords are fulfillment, wealth, family, rest, satiety, ultimate and lasting success. In Egyptian mythology, Tourette was a productive a protective goddess associated with childbirth, fertility, and the care of children. She was helping women during childbirth and postpartum and was considered a protector of the home, sleep, and small children. So I guess the advice would be to watch out for my kids and to make sure that I always have an eye on my granddaughter, because she's at that age. She could get, in trouble quickly. So anyway, this gives you kind of an idea of the brief questions that I was answering in the last journal. And it works out beautifully. And I don't dislike not writing a whole lot, but I just felt like that wasn't my intention when I started journaling. So I just did a Monday spread. The Tuesday spread is where to look for confidence and courage. What goal should you be working on? What should you be passionate about? And a general advice card. Wednesday would be communication situation to address, intellectual topic of the day, divination matter to work on, and advice for an extra boost. Thursday would be something to commit to, something to improve your material well-being, something to heal and cherish, and advice for a lucky day. Friday is where can I find beauty today? How can I spice things up a bit today? How can I bring harmony into my life and home today? And the last one is nurture and care for this today. The Saturday spread is what is hurting me that needs to go? What needs a good cleaning out or clearing out? What have I lost and must regain? A matter for the meditative mind. Sunday is where can I find peace today? What small victory can I set in motion? Can I see in motion? And how can I be creative? And then the last one is something to hope for. So crossing my fingers this video is turning out correctly, where you get to see my spreads while I'm telling you the prompts. It'll make more sense to you. And then you've seen my journal, so you know that I've picked images from my cards to sketch, and then later I go back and paint them. And I have very limited palettes that I choose from. I have 5 of them. There's no rhyme or reason as to what I choose. I suppose, in my head, I'm somehow thinking that certain colors, certain palettes will go with certain drawings. So I'm sure that there's a little bit of thought process to it, but generally I'm just reaching for something. Let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to make sure I touched base with you about my practice and how it's changing? I'm scheduling changes because, having a schedule is a good thing. I'm scheduling changes as the year progresses, and every month I will change my altar space, not the knickknacks, but my altar cloth. Every week I change out my decks. Every turn of the wheel of the year. So I guess Lammas is coming up. Anyway, every every next season, I'll change out my knickknacks. And, yeah. And, you know, there's going to be a time where I'm going to be moving into my little cottage, and this space will be much bigger. So I'll have lots of different altar spaces than just this one. Let's see. Is there anything else? I really like scheduling things because that keeps me on my toes. I think that whole Eight of Swords thing is important in my life. You know, we can think of it as a prison, but for me it's more structure. I need something to lean on when, you know, everything is kind of haphazard, and my life is pretty whimsical. I like to use that word, but whimsical can be pretty chaotic. And what I really want to do is to have some structure to lean on. And so by scheduling these changes, it keeps me kind of stable, I guess. It keeps me, you know, grounded. And I know that I have something coming up that I'm going to do. I'm going to change. So that is my plan. I'm very excited about the next journal. I really hope that I'll have something to show you from it soon. But of course, that requires me to sit down and paint, and I'm going out of town. I'm leaving again. Yeah, we're going to be going to Texas in this next week, and I'll be out of town for a couple of weeks, so I won't have any paintings done. I'm gonna try and finish the paintings in the last journal before I start the new one. I mean, start painting in the new one. I've started the new one, but just the writing, and I'm still very excited about that. Let's see. I have been making things, like I said. I do take my own advice, and I go and make things whenever I think about it. And I've got some crochet items I could show you. I'm working on upcycling my t-shirts. I'm in a mood right now where I'm all about mending the things around me instead of spending to buy something new. That hasn't kept me from spending, because I bought a dress for my anniversary the other day. It's like a $500 dress, and I found it for $20. Look, there's no way I was going to leave that sitting there. I'm taking that with me. So I bought a dress, and I recently got a jean jacket to go over, you know, for my outfits. That's something I can't make here at the house. So I bought a jean jacket, and I bought another dress. This is going to be one that's more all-purpose. I can use it for just about anything. And I didn't worry about if it had pockets or not, because the jean jacket can go over it. I hope, knock on wood, it has pockets. I didn't even check that. I'm pretty sure it would. It's a jean jacket. Don't they have pockets? Pretty sure. Okay. So that about wraps it up. Hopefully I've put these little videos, these clips of me doing my spreads, and I could do another of my next coming up spread, but I just don't know. I'm not sure if maybe I'll get a hold on one second. Okay, so I'm going to do a spread the current way that I've got my journal set up. What we'll do is we'll pull a card from the spread crafters. The spread machine is hard at work, and we will get a single card. And if we get more than one card, we're putting some of those back, because I only want one word to have to think about. Let's not complicate things. There's my card. Defend. Perfect. So... these... go back in, keep those guys together, and I'm going to use a different oracle because my Bestiary of Women is a little too hard to, I really have to spend time with the guidebook to understand what it's telling me. So we're going to do Pure Magic Oracle as my past. So defend is to protect, to resist a breach of boundary, to assert your stance and your reality. Sorry, I just got new glasses and that is really hard to read. Okay, so defend. How in the past would I have thought or acted defensive or defending? So the answer is Baraka. Power, strength, force, expansion. So in the past, I probably would have been very defensive, very forcefully outwardly defensive. I would not run from a fight per se, and I would let it consume me, because expansion, it would be constantly building and growing. And I have to be honest, I was kind of an angry person through most of my life. Had issues. Okay, so my conscious, what does my conscious think about the word defend? How do I deal with defending today? What happened? I feel like I dropped one. Nope. That was interesting. So how do I think consciously about defend, defense, defending? Oh, the Chariot. So in defending thoughts, emotions, points of view, in the defense of those things, it's progress in my mind. We are trying to move things forward in our own, with our own theories, with our own beliefs, protecting and resisting breaches of the boundaries that we set for our own beliefs, our own thoughts, trying to bring other people to the same conclusions that we are at. That's progress, going like in the future, having more like-minded people in my group. I guess that's how my conscious thinks about defense. So I don't think about defense. I'm not just thinking about defending. I'm consciously not thinking about defending myself per se, or just vulnerable people, but I'm thinking about defending what I believe in to make change and to in the future bring more people to the same conclusions that I come to. Okay, so that's past and my conscious. So next we have future. So any plans in the future to be different with defending, with my defense, with defending or being defensive. Or maybe any advice for how I can think of defense differently to be more healthy in my use of defense. Ask yourself. So this tells me to be mindful. Ask yourself the 7 whys. Like, why not just sit there for a second and say, why am I defensive? You know, why does this matter? Why? Just make sure that you ask yourself all the questions to spend that energy correctly. I don't think that in the past my being defensive was ever useful. It defined me as a person, but that's not necessarily a good thing. And I look back and I don't like how angry I was. So I don't think that that was as useful for my energy. I mean, I'm sure that everybody's got their own use for these strong feelings in their lives, but I think that if I were to change things, I would definitely take away a lot of the anger that I used to have. So defense, anger kind of went together. I think of it as change, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to make any change. And in the future, I will always be mindful. I'll try to always be mindful and ask myself, why am I feeling this way? What am I defending? Who does this matter to? Is it going to really be worth that energy? Is it going to benefit in some way that energy is useful, used in the most useful way? So that's future, past, conscious, future. And then we will do subconscious. So in the back of my mind, the things that I don't think about, what are my attitudes towards defending, or being defensive? Seven of Swords. That's interesting. Maybe I feel that people who are very defensive are not very trustworthy. Maybe they have a different agenda than I do, and when I am defensive that way, I might come across that way to someone else. Like maybe I am not as true to maybe I'm not showing a genuine side of myself when I become very defensive. So that's interesting. I had not thought about that. But you can very easily spend tons of time telling stories, expanding on what you know you're thinking, because you're conscious, you know where this is coming from, and all you have to do is explain yourself. And the future, making plans or or how can you take this as maybe some advice for the future, and you can see how this would be this might be a better plan than the way you used to do things. And then your subconscious, I would spend several pages talking about this, because I think this is true. If someone is terribly defensive, they may immediately, in my mind, come across as untrustworthy, as conniving, or manipulative, or did I just say manipulative? Let's see if I can speak correctly. Anyway, authentic, maybe they're not being their true self by being so defensive. Maybe what I'm trying to say, I know, this is it. So when you're so defensive, and when you're so angry, and when you're so set in stone with your argument and your stance, maybe that comes across as you've got other problems, not just what you're screaming and yelling about, or what you're arguing about, or what you're defending. Perhaps you're using that stance, this defend stance, as a way to relieve another insecurity. Something else is going on with you. And that's the way it is with me. If I get really uptight and nervous and defensive, it's usually because I'm feeling insecure about something. And that's the core of the problem, not whatever started the defensiveness. So anyway, I could spend way too much time talking about the subconscious of this, but you get the idea that what I had before was kind of short answers, to the point, helped get to know decks and learn how the decks got along together. It was good for what I was doing at the time. This is better for me to put more energy into the writing, into the understanding where my head is. Or where my head could be. But because my table's so little, this is not a cross. It should be a cross, but this is where it goes. It's the object, the word that we're discussing, the past, how you may have felt, acted, or behaved around this word, your conscious, what you know about it, what you can bring to the table off the top of your head from that word, your future, either advice or a plan that you already have worked out to either change the way you have been, whatever this word is. I'm trying to keep it general. But either changing or something that obviously has always worked. So you never know how your future is going to play this. And then your subconscious, and this is the fun one today. This is the fun one right here. Again, this was all kind of put together by different YouTubers. I got to see Lisa Papez talk about how she liked that Celtic Cross, just the center 5 positions of the Celtic Cross, and I got to see Candy talk about her center oracle being the gelatin that held the reading together, and she was doing 3 on each side. And if I had a bigger table, I would definitely have tried that, but I just felt like this compact space makes this easier for me. And just to cover this, in case anybody wants to know, I told you that this is the Pure Magic Oracle. It is mass market. This is the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. I don't think I have the box. It's the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. I have the pocket edition. I'm sorry you can't get this one. This is the Salmon Advice. It's the volume 4. I have 3 and 4. or 4 and 5, I can't remember, but I think I have 3 and 4, and that's all I can get my hands on. And this is the Spread Crafters Oracle. This one is called Change. There's the backs. And this is the Meeting the Otherkin. Glossy. Meeting the Otherkin tarot deck. So, I really hope that you guys are enjoying my divulging the secrets of my practice. Haha. It has been such an evolution, a process constantly evolving. I enjoy it immensely. There are people out there like Candy and Lisa and Sylvie and, you know, all these people that continue to make content and help encourage and also build our imagination with how we can do things differently in our tarot practice. Because they're out here doing their thing, I can continue to be enthusiastic and not get bored with my wonderful tarot. And thank you guys for coming and being a part of this. I've enjoyed seeing everyone's comments in the the comment section. Whenever you say something to me, it just brightens my day. I enjoy knowing that someone takes what I have to say and thinks about it, and that's wonderful. So thank you guys for being here and for participating in my practice, and I hope you have a great week. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.